Hey y'all, what's going on this morning? Hope everybody's well. This is not going to be a fun live stream. It's not going to be fun. I'm going to try. It might not even be long. And I'm going to try my absolute best to keep composure. Because I am seriously disappointed in the PBC. I am deeply, deeply disappointed by the PBC. I respect the PBC. I support the PBC with all of my fucking ability. I have supported the PBC for nothing. No money, no nothing. Every fight I have supported. But I can't support this. I cannot. At a certain point, you have to draw a line about what you're willing to do and what you're willing not to do. And I'm not willing to do it. And I'm going to explain to you why. I have to tell you who I am first. I'll tell you what it is. I believe this, and I will explain why. I believe, in my opinion, based on the conversations I've had with Bill Haney online with everybody to see, the conversations that I've had with Gary Russell Jr. that everybody can see, videos that are out on multiple channels who I will not name that you all have seen. And the only logical conclusion after about 18 hours of reflection is that the only person capable of doing this, from what I see, is Floyd Mayweather Jr. Not Eddie Hearn, not Al Heyman, not Devin Haney, not Gary Russell Jr. No one other than Floyd Mayweather Jr. is in the position to accomplish what is happening. I will explain, minds, exactly how I believe that he is the issue. I believe. And I want to repeat this. This is what I believe. I have nothing but anecdotal evidence, public statements on my channel, public statements and things that I've seen in the media over the last year. This is my opinion. Before you try to rev up your lawyers, this is my opinion of me personally. My opinion, just mine. It could be completely false. Everything that I'm saying, that I think, the facts will be true. My opinion will be my opinion. So I want you to understand that I'm telling you my opinion. Does everybody understand that this is my opinion? I hope that you do, because this is my opinion. First, before I tell you why I believe that, let me tell you who I am. You have to understand why I was able to have the conversations in the manner that I did. You all think of me as a lawyer. That's what you think of me as. I am constantly called that because I have a legal education, because I do transactions and I understand the law and I work in that area. So in a sense, I am. But what I really am is the man that I've been my whole life, which is the son of a businessman and the brother of a businessman and the employee of Fortune 500 companies and the employee of multiple Fortune 500 companies. I am also certified as a negotiator by Harvard University. I'm an expert on negotiations tactics. An expert at them. Expert. Not passing, expert. I have negotiated no less than 2,000 deals. Negotiated that many. Wrote the contracts myself because I am able to write a contract myself without any review of anybody else, because that's a skill set that I went to school for. Right? But what did I do? I grew up in a small business that we owned. My family, we owned a business did about $50 million a year. We had about 220 employees. And I understand the politics of a small business very well. That's why I know what I'm saying, because I have experience in this regard. And I know strategic tactics. And I want to introduce you to a strategic tactic called the cat's paw. The cat's paw. If you like Google, go look it up. It's called the cat's paw. I play chess, not checkers. I speak snake. I speak legalese. I know organizations. I understand organizational structure. I know organizational transition. I understand organizational communication. More than a little bit familiar with project planning, because we have a business about the size of the PBC when you look at their profit. My father and brother are both in entrepreneurial Hall of Fames. I could tell you what profit was before I could stand up. I hate business with all my heart. I hate business with all my heart. I hate it. I hate the relationships. I hate it. Every minute of it, I hate it. I hate the politics. I hate the backstabbing. I hate the cat's paw more than anything else. I hate the cat's paw more than anything else, because that is the thing that was used to try to ruin my career on multiple occasions. The cat's paw. And I do believe that either Eddie Hearn, there's a possibility of two cat's paws. Who is the cat's paw for? Now, I'll explain to you who is a cat's paw for sure. Batman is a cat's paw. He's a cat's paw. He is speaking for Gary Russell Jr., the cat's paw. He's not the teeth. He's just the paw. He's what you use to grab you. The paw. The cat's paw. Go look up cat's paw. The cat's paw, aka the stooge. Exactly. But the cat's paw can be both knowledgeable and ignorant. However, they are doing the bidding of the cat's mouth. So, I had a negotiation on this channel. You all saw it. And it was a cat's paw negotiation from beginning to end. It was and I'm teaching. I'm not answering questions. That was a cat's paw negotiation. Everybody talked about how revolutionary it was to be on the internet. And I thought to myself, no, this is a cat's paw negotiation. I am representing the LDBC and I'm taking it because that's why I told you. The only reason that I was talking to anybody is because 78 said talk about it. Because 78 was because 78, because that's it. It's the only reason I was involved. I knew I'm disgusted with the business, period. I'm disgusted with business, period. Not just boxers. I'm so tired of manipulative people that think people are stupid and use leverage. They call it A side, nigga. It's just leverage. You're using leverage against people. The cat's paw is using leverage against people. The cat's paw using leverage against people. Your power versus their power. So, the cat's paw. I let you know I was acting as 78's cat's paw, whether he wanted me to or not. I was going to look for the interest of the LDBC in this deal and make sure, because I could tell there's a lot of shit going on that I didn't understand. Like, what is all of this? What is all of this? And then I saw a video that BFTB did where he said he connected it to Terrence Crawford, but he looked at it from a fan's perspective. But then I thought, hold on, that's cat's paw. Now I know we're in a cat's paw, but who could the cat's paw be? Who is the mouth? I see the paw. Bill's the paw. He's the paw. That's my opinion. He's the paw. And you know, because he has to pick up the phone and somebody's in his ear. But what we're assuming is that that's Eddie Hearn in his ear. Why can't that be Floyd? Or why can't that be Leonard Ellerby? Why can't that be anybody? Especially when they fight out of the Mayweather gym. I was assuming that that was Eddie Hearn on the phone. But that's my assumption. But when you remove your assumption, you don't know who that was. All I know is that they told me, when I listened to him, when they talked to BFTB, I heard Bill say that this has to be the outcome. One guy has to be ducking. That was the outcome. One guy has to be ducking. It's either Devin ducking or it's Gary Russell Jr. ducking, but somebody has to be ducking. So when that was said, and then later on, there was a show on, I'll say his name, Aki TV, respect to Aki TV, where they said Gary Russell was to blame. So I was like, okay, Bill's consistent. He said somebody has to be to blame at the end of this conversation. The whole conversation over on that channel was about blaming Gary Russell Jr. So I'm thinking, okay, blaming Gary Russell Jr. is your BAFTA? Your best alternative to a negotiated agreement is that you're going to walk away with the perception that Gary Russell Jr. is ducking. I told you about zone of possibility. I told you about BAFTA. I told you about, before I've talked about any of this, I gave you basic negotiation. You have to be in the mind of the other person. What is in it for them? With them, what's in it for me? Why would Bill care, or anybody else care, respect to Bill? Why would they care that Gary Russell Jr. looks like a duck? That seems personal. Well, who are the fighters that Devin Haney could be fighting? He's either going to fight one PBC fighter or another PBC fighter. Right? Who's Devin going to fight? He's got a choice of PBC fighters. Uriekos Gamboa just fought on the Floyd Mayweather Jr. card in his last fight. Floyd Mayweather Jr. is a co-owner of the PBC. And here's the thing with Al Haymon. I've never heard Al Haymon speak ever. But I know organizations. If your partner doesn't want you to do something and you rely on that partner can shut down anybody he wants to shut down. Because all he has to do is pick up and call his best friend and tell him not to give you the job. That's the motherfucking cat mouth talking to the cat's paw. So this whole time I'm just looking and waiting like, okay, who is the cat's mouth? What is this? And I'm saying, no, I don't. I think that Bill's trying to make the fight. I do. And I believe that Gary Russell Jr. is trying to make the fight. I do. And I do believe that from the logic of it and his past behavior in other situations, that Al Haymon would make the fight. Why would DAZN have a problem? They said thumbs up. So why don't they want to make the fight all of a sudden? It doesn't make sense for any of them. It only makes sense for Floyd. It only makes sense for Floyd. Everything that's going on from this push, the push to get at Gary Russell Jr. Why? Didn't Bo? Oh, I remember. Gary Russell Jr. and Floyd don't like each other. And do you really think somebody in the position wants to feed Devin Haney? And look, here's another thing. Outside of the perspective, that type of speculation, Let's also look at what happened when he said with Tank and Devin Haney. He said, Floyd said that he wants to work with Devin Haney and that Devin Haney is eventually going to be at welterweight. He's not going to be at lightweight. So why would he want Devin Haney to get in the ring with Gary Russell Jr.? Why? Why would he want that? He wouldn't want that. It's a cat's paw. It's a cat's paw. And that's why I just sit there and listen. And I know, and there's dudes from the PBC that look at me like I'm a fucking virus or something. I'm like, dude, I can't, like, why am I a virus at the PBC? I've never done anything but support the PBC. Why am I a virus? Oh, we do talk shit about Floyd, though. We do talk shit about Floyd a lot, though. And he listens. And dude, all those channels are born out of Floyd Mayweather's gym. Look at how many channels get their footage from Floyd Mayweather gym. Look how many channels he has on YouTube. I wouldn't be surprised if Floyd owned 5-6 channels. When Devin said we've got 1.5, who is he talking about? Because they were like, somebody, you said you got 1.5. We assume the 1.5 was from Devin, from Bill. But no, Floyd got that shit on his ring. Floyd could give Bill fucking $500,000, just be quiet. He has the means, the motive, and the opportunity to blackball, and the knowledge to blackball Gary Russell Jr. Which is why, could be, I don't know, but why is Leo Santa Cruz getting a pay-per-view fight against Gervonta Davis? But you can't make him fight Gary Russell Jr., but we're meant to just run around and say, oh, it's because Leo Santa Cruz is a duck. Or Gary Russell Jr. is blackballed because he won't sign up all the way with PBC, or he don't fuck with, or Floyd don't fuck with him. That's who I felt like I was in a chess game with. Because I'm like, who can make these moves? Who can make these moves? Who can have video after video after video after video pop up on channels that he makes video after video after video on? Cat's paws. And I was just like, new media. That's what I was like. That's why I went off on the new media shit. In LDBC, like, we're the LDBC, because I was trying to find the cat's mouth. Where's the cat's mouth? What the fuck are we negotiating with? Who are we negotiating with? I want to know, because I know I'm doing it, but I don't know who it is. I don't know who it is. But I'm telling you, I've experienced this. I know this because I worked at a firm where I had 200 people that worked for me. And I was pulling in well over $1 million a month at like 40% profit. And nothing I could do was right. And every email, every question I ever had about anything was run to the guy that owned the company, who was my father. So I was like, who's the cat's paw? It was eventually I found out after I was going at the paws, going with the paws, chucking up foot. Then I found out it was my own father. It was my own father who was trying to teach me a lesson. And it almost cost me my professional career. I know a cat's paw. I don't care if I'm wrong. This is something, there's an explanation for this. There is a systematic and logical explanation for this. Shit does not happen automatically. Once I get to the point where I can predict something is going to happen, I know it's a system. I knew what was going to happen later that night. That's why I was already up and watching. You think I ever watch a key? I don't watch a key. I did that night because I knew it. I was like, here comes the play. Because it's not Bill. It's somebody else who switches it up in between. Just like this lady, I'll tell you a true story of a cat's paw. I'm going to tell you love, 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 love. I'm going to tell you my true story on a cat's paw that hurt me so deeply, which is why I'm telling you what it is. And then I'm going to tell you what Gary Russell Jr. should do about it. I ripped my ACL, ripped it, completely gone. And I had surgery. But I could never stop working. I could never stop working because there was always something going on, always something going on. Like, you know what I mean? Always. So I had a meeting at my house with my team, with a nurse shooting me full of morphine. I'm crawling around the house because my leg is atrophied. I had to have this meeting at my house. In the middle of this meeting, a lady stood up and said, "Hey, I would like to file some complaints." Really? Some complaints? Okay, what is it? He said, "Well, look, sir, you're very abusive to me. You argue, you are mean, and I feel disrespected." And this was somebody who I had a wonderful working relationship with. Wonderful working relationship. Wonderful. Every day laughing, work going great. But all of a sudden in this meeting, she says something out of the ordinary that doesn't make sense. Have you guys experienced that over the last couple of days? Somebody just jumping up and saying something that is way out of place and way different than the conversation you just heard the guy have? Yes, this, where Bill Haney says one thing, and then all of a sudden he's saying something different. He looks tired and worn out. So I asked the lady, I said, when it's done, I said, "Why did you do that to me? Why did you do that to me?" And she said, "Look, man, I'm so sorry. It wasn't me. It was your father that told me, because I knew what the issue was and who was mad at me. It was a guy that I worked with. I knew he was upset with me because I called him out on something. But I told him, look, man, if you want to raise, you got to go over there and tell him that you're upset with me. You're not upset with him. You're upset with me." So I had told, I'm cat's pawing. I need for you guys to understand when I say cat's paw what it is. So I'm cat's pawing. I go to my friend and say, "Look, you want to raise, you're upset. Go there, ask for a raise, blame me, because I can take the bullet and then maybe you can get some movement on your salary." So the guy does it, right? And predictably, the reaction is the same, is what it is. I knew what the reaction would be. But in the meeting, the person that meant it wasn't the person I said it to. It was the cat's paw. He cat's pawed me for no reason, because he didn't know I set that up, right? I sent the guy to him. He didn't know that. He was running things. He thought the guy came on his own. I sent him. So he reacted in a way where he tried to hide behind the mirror, but the reaction was off because I already knew what the issue was. And she had nowhere to go. That's the cat's paw. And that's what is happening, in my opinion. That's because, yeah. So let me tell you why that's so disappointing. And I could be completely wrong, but you guys in the PBC already know. Y'all already know whether what I'm saying is true or not true, because everybody knows the cat's paw. Everybody sees it done, but nobody is going to jump out there and risk their neck against a guy that can freeze their career out. So if it is the cat, whoever it is, in my opinion, looking like they want to freeze Gary Russell's career out. And that's why he might be fighting once a year. Maybe it isn't because he doesn't want to fight. Maybe it is because fights keep falling through. Everything that they try to do keeps falling through. Including this, right in the middle of everybody. I don't know what anybody thinks. I don't care what anybody thinks. Everything that I say could be wrong. Everything that I said could be wrong. Everything that I could say could be wrong. I'm telling you my professional experience with a move called the cat's paw. And I'll tell you what I did yesterday on the show. An example. This is not a cat's paw, but this is a relationship thing. I have a new show coming up on Sundays. I'm going to call it the Young G's. And I told you because I stopped OG Boxing Talk because it stopped becoming G. Just straight honestly. I was like, nah, man, this is just not a good show anymore. I love everybody on the panel, but it's just not a good show. I would not wake up at Sunday morning at this time for this show. I felt after a show. So I had to be honest with myself and I changed the show. No dislove, no love to everybody, but I had to change the show. So in this Young G stuff, I'm just look, man. Please, PBC, do not become what you say that you're not. Because it doesn't make any difference who abuses a black fighter. Whether the person that abuses them is a black fighter or white guy or a black fighter, doesn't mean. He's still being mistreated. And Gary Russell Jr. is being mistreated. He is being mistreated. Somebody is mistreating him. Somebody is making it very difficult for him to move. Very difficult for him to move. Very difficult for him to get a fight. This should have been a 15-minute negotiation. 15 minutes. Tops. $15 minutes tops. So let me tell you what I would have told him. The solution to the cat's paw. And then I'll start taking questions. But I want you to know what I thought. And I'm not interviewing anybody on my channel no more. If Batman wants to come on here, I'll let Batman on just, to chop it up. You know what I mean? I'm off of this because I never wanted to be in this. I want to make little videos about pay-per-view numbers and help you guys understand that stuff as a side thing. That's all I want to do when I talk about business, dude. I'm a businessman. That's what I was trained to do from a child. Not in college, from listening to people who make money doing this at my kitchen table. Just like you guys trained watching your father's fight and doing all that. No, dude, my father is an executive, a senior executive at IBM. One of the 3 highest ranking blacks at IBM at the time he was there. One of the first 10 blacks, probably first black ever hired in IBM in the Midwest. A mentor of John Thompson. John Thompson, the CEO of Symantec, now on the board of directors. Now on the board of directors, I do believe, of Microsoft. That's who raised me. I know sales. I hate it. I hate it. And for y'all to make me think about it disturbs me. Okay, you guys think you're shit. You're not that smart. You're not. And you're going to get fried being cute. Chairman of the board. I played in his living room with his black wife before he changed to his white wife. I have listened. I sat with Graves. I know them. I hate business. I hate it because it rips at you. Because it rips at you. Yes, you need money. Yes, you need money, but be careful. Be careful. Don't use your employer-employee relationship and leverage to abuse people, to mistreat people, which is what employers do on a regular basis to people. There's a famous statement that I am more an employee than I am white. That is what I am. This is what white person said. I'm not going to go into brilliant, but making an argument about racism and the need to end white supremacy. He said, I am more of an employee than I am white because of the mistreatment, because you don't understand the viciousness of the employee-employer relationship, because that's not fair. It's not right. I don't care who it is. And like I said, I could be wrong. I'm being flat. I could be wrong. But you guys have all seen everything that I've seen that makes me believe it, makes me think that. That's why, no, man, dude, come on, man. I can't do it. I can't do it. Please, Lord, please. If somebody is on Gary with that shit, stop, man. Please stop, because you're teaching people habits. And let me tell you a story. There's a book called Animal Farm. If you guys are familiar, it's George Orwell, Animal Farm. And this is the story of Animal Farm. There was a farm with pigs, horses, ducks, animals, regular farm, right? And then the animals revolted. And they said, we can change this. We are being mistreated by the owners. So what they did was they organized and they kicked the owners out. And as soon as that happened, the pigs started to scheme. And they set up things. And eventually, at the end of the book, the pigs enslave everybody else, and they stand upright like a man, sit next to the humans who they do business with, and you cannot tell the difference between the two. That is George Orwell's Animal Farm. The moral of the story is the system. Mistrust is mistrust. And be careful when you have the ability to mistreat people, will you use it? You know what it is like to be mistreated. But when you have the power, do you continue to mistreat them? Or do you change it? And do you become something different? Yes, independent contractors and 1099s. Let me say something. My hat off to Al Heyman. Okay, and I'm gonna break it down. My hat off to Al Heyman. Okay, hat off to Al Heyman. Because he is very fundamentally sound as a businessman. Some people say he's brilliant. I do not think he is. I think he is a very well-schooled and fundamentally sound businessman who is practical and experienced. And he understands the relationship between a 1099 and a contractor and the person who would contract with the 1099. So he understands the business structure. He understands the MBA. When he's an MBA that tells you what he knows, let me tell you what I am. Excuse me. That was bad. Let me blow my nose. 1 second. I got to blow my nose. Sorry about that, man. I'm sorry. I'll try to go back and edit that out. Please. I apologize. So anyway, man, Al Heyman is a very, he seems to be, to me, honestly, the CFO. Really. Like, if I had to see like the role that he's doing, to me, with the PBC seems more to be CFO than CEO. Because if he is CEO, what is Floyd Mayweather Jr.? Right? Why would Floyd Mayweather Jr. enter into a business agreement with Al Haney and not be functionally the CEO and have Al Heyman be the CFO and be the name that's on everything and do all of the business deals and make sure all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed? Be able to negotiate with financial people to get the money. What you say? Junior, the truth, what's that? Too much CBD? Your CBD? Hey, man, I'm just trying to finalize it. That's it. I'm trying to finalize it, dog. Just trying to finalize it. This is what I think. And here's another thing, too. Okay? What made me tell you I'm done, okay? Yeah, exactly. Shadow 989. Yeah, that's why I think. Because everybody knows what Gary Russell Jr. said. So if this was a scenario, see, this is the cat's paw. This is the problem here. Okay. This is the problem when you do that. All right. I demonstrated the problem in my cat's paw. When your opponent knows that you're using that your pawn is not a queen, when that pawn, right? When that queen is not a queen, it's only a pawn, then you might be suckered into making a move. Because you're making moves thinking that you're attacking the queen, but you're really not attacking the queen. You're attacking the pawn. So you're off, right? That's one of the points of a cat's paw. You want to set that there, so you go for the paw. You go for it. So there was one that was pulled last night, and I almost fell for it. Quite honestly, because I was emotional and I had been drinking a little bit. Right. And even 78, I apologize for calling 78. I called like 78 like 2 times. Mine just going because I couldn't understand what was going on. Like, I'm like, dude, this is easy. This is just easy. This doesn't make sense. None of this makes sense. Like, it makes sense until then I just walked like hours and walked through everybody that could be involved. That's how you get it. But the mistake is this. When somebody knows that your guy is a cat's paw, then you can make moves based on the cat's paw and under the delusion that this person is going to fall for that. So what happened last night was this. They set a cat's paw. They're like, oh, okay, I think I'm smarter than these niggas. So let me tell you what they did. In my opinion. Got Bill. Much respect to Bill. Somebody got Bill on that show and instigated through a key, a challenge to BFTB, saying that he was the best debater on YouTube. Right? Just said it. I responded, call BFTB. Now, between me and you, no disrespect, that's a death sentence if that man comes anywhere near BFTB. BFTB would humiliate him terribly. Terribly. And they know it. So why put him out there? You want me to go for him? No. I am not going to go for him because I do not believe that he is legitimate with that. When he saw my name, I saw his expression. And you guys all saw what we did to my man, Killatainment. Everybody knows, dog, you don't come nowhere near this. So why would you come near this? Why would you come near this? That's what I thought about the young man. Why? I like you, dude. Why? Just like the other cat's paw. Same feeling. Why? Why would you do that? Why would you flex like that? Why would you flex like that? You know what it is. You have to know what it is. Why? Why? Now, I call BFTB. And I thought to myself after I was like, whoa, that's what you wanted me to do. You want me to add to the storm by going to get him and kick this shit long? No. Nope. Nope. I'm done. I'm done. No more videos. No more interviews. No more none of it. I'm done. Completely. I'm completely done. Because I've seen cat's paws. And it's time for people to stop acting like people don't see pack. On this internet, we are so good with these names. I can recognize who you are even if you change your name. Have you ever noticed that? Who is BFTB? Go find out. You want to know who BFTB is? Put BFTB in the link, pick your favorite subject to disagree with, and go to his channel. There will be a link in the description. Do not touch it. SP, Fannon, are you saying you got played? No, I didn't get played because I'm not in the game. How did I get played? I'm not in the game. I'm a cat's paw, and I know it. All I'm doing is thinking I'm helping the LDBC. I didn't lose anything. Dude, this shit wouldn't win 5 minutes with me. I promise you, if I was negotiating, it'd be 5 minutes. This shit have been done. You want to know why? Because I would ask this nigga to sign something that said that you certify that you have the authority to bind someone. I will have them sign agency. Tell me you're his agent, which is why Bernie, you know, Bernie's dude, Terrence Crawford's dude. That's when Bernie was like, yeah, I was like, yeah, you can come on. As soon as Terrence Crawford publicly says that he represents you, then please, Bernie, come to the channel. No problems. After you get past BFTB, because I don't like to get into this stuff. You challenging BFTB, not me. Dude, you're running the same play every time. How many times you think you're going to do pull counters on me, dog? How many pull counters are you going to try? Throw something out there, let me leap in, my head is out there, bop. How many times you think you're going to pull counter me, man? Dog, come on, man. You're not going to keep pull countering me. I've seen it. I've seen video. And matter of fact, dude, I see how, stop. I look at how you fight and I know how you are. I'm not shutting down my channel at all. I'm stop fucking with these niggas. I don't need to talk about boxers for a channel. I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of this shit because I'm watching it. So I'm like, dude, I played neutral the whole time. I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything the whole time. I got off the screen and let people talk. All I ever did was point people to whatever the other people said. But dude, I'm not like dumb. I'm dude, that's what I did. I can't help it. I can't help it. I can't help it. I am like, dude, for real. Like somebody said, post-traumatic business syndrome. Like I've seen so many people screwed. And I know how to screw people so well that I refuse to do it. It was a conscious choice not to do that. That wouldn't be any problem getting a job with somebody like Al Hammond to fuck y'all. No, I just don't want to do it. People in Shine know me. That's why I was like, dude, when they did that shit about you don't even know, dude. Really? Really? Go look, Doug. Go look up. I ain't even gonna tell you, dude. Like, nigga, Google me. Google us. You know what I'm saying? Like, nigga, I was one of the first niggas in the 2000s. Like, nigga, Google me. Nah, I'm kidding. No, it wasn't me. But dog, that's the environment. It's like it's like Mayweather is to boxing, what boxing is to the Mayweather family, business is to my family. Entrepreneurial businesses specifically. I got sisters that are HR experts. I've got sisters that are HR experts. I got family that are finance experts. I have people that are dude, the whole fucking kaboom. And it's a small business at that. The PBC is not a big business, it's a small business. Small business in their profit lines have to be, because 90% of the money, none of the no, I ain't leaving my channel, man, please. All of the motherfucking money goes out to the fighters. So the actual institution, their profit can't be that damn big. It's just how many people do they have? What? They got Kelly Swanson, who is what? A 1099. They've got Tim Smith, who may be an employee, I don't know, but more than likely he's a 1099. Because why would you want to pay his employment taxes? Why, when you can just give it to him? What's going on? Oh man, nigga, please, that ain't even his shit. You know what I mean? When you could just, why? Why would you hire her? No. And so who do they work for? I like Kelly Swanson. I ain't got no problem, but I know who she works for. And I don't think it's Al Heyman. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that that's who she would be talking to. It doesn't make sense that I just think people really underestimate the role of Floyd Mayweather Jr. within the PBC and his influence within the PBC. Even if he has his own promotional company, his influence is easy. He can hop all over the place. He could bait people with his own fights and say, hey, man, yeah, maybe I'll come fight, with you, with this fight. I can give you this fight, man. Don't do that. You know what I mean? Come on, man. Yeah, man. So, dude, if Gary Russell Jr. is blackballed by the PBC, dude, that's what it is. And until they prove otherwise, I just think he's blackballed at the PBC. I just think he's blackballed at the PBC. And I don't think there's anything that Al Heyman could do about it if he wanted to. Because if Floyd don't like him and Floyd don't fuck with Gary, there's nothing Al could do. Why would he? There's something he could do, but why would he risk his relationship with a guy that probably next year, if he decided to pop out, could make him another $20 million? The leverage between Floyd Mayweather and Al Heyman is so tremendous that it's almost impossible to think somebody like Gary Russell Jr. could make him move. Couldn't make him move. I know bully tactics. I have to check myself not to do it. I have to check myself. You know what I mean? Like, my first instinct is to use that shit. Like, oh, you think you fucking smart? Okay, how about this? How about I just air you out and explain it detailed where people can research cat's paw. Look at the moves that you've made. You have all kind of people in the PBC that would love to tell other people that that's going on. If you're out there, if people or anybody is out there blackballing in people in the PBC, not allowing them to get fights because there's competition for dates and limited funds, dog, Gary Russell Jr. need to leave. So what would I do? I tell you what I would do. If this was, and it ain't even me, but I would tell you what I'd do to counter that move, since everybody want to play chess, right? It's chess, not checkers. So what's the chess move? Leave. Because you're never going to get anything if that's the case if this is the case with anybody at PBC, you got to leave. You got to get into a system where at least maybe somebody won't be looking at you and stopping everything you do. And only fucking with you if you're big enough to where he can't. Like, he can't stop Errol Spence from doing something. He can't stop. Maybe he could stop Deontay Wilder. I don't know. Like, what is all this shit with these fighters having such a hard time? But they're making good money when they're good. I don't know. But and I have never been in there. However, I will tell you that I know that is the place in an environment like that. If he don't want you in somewhere, Kelly Swanson can't get you in. How can Kelly Swanson get in, let you in? How? If somebody over her with more influence, more leverage, the A side. If the A side, who do you think the A side is between Floyd and Tim Smith? They will be gone tomorrow. He would be gone tomorrow. Bye. Sorry, Wild Dog. We can't do anything else. I can't help you, dog. I can't make him get in the ring. That's not Troy King, man. Troy King shit is killer-tainment, dog. I do believe. Anyway, that's just so the exit is the only move Floyd is allowing him. That's it. You have to give Floyd the game and leave. You are high enough profile to leave. Bingo. And what you do is what you got to do. But I'm telling you, if you stay there and that's the situation, dude, you're never going to get anywhere. Everything will be shut down. Everything. All kind of other people will be getting fights over you. And then let's talk about the fact that, come on, man. Dog, you're trying to repeat Devin Haney in you. There is no more little kid that is more the Mayweather blueprint than Devin Haney. Fights just like him. Trains with him. Floyd said he's not going to fight Tank Davis because he's leaving 135. He's going up above 135. How could Floyd tell you what Devin Haney is going to do with his career if Floyd Mayweather Jr. does not know? He said Devin Haney will not be at 135. He will be moving up. Gervonta Davis already openly questioned his loyalty relative to Gervonta Davis and Devin Haney. And see, here's this other stuff. Why are we hating on Floyd? Dog, shut up. Okay? Y'all shut up. I am not hating on him at all. I honestly, dude, I'm like, dude, use your power better, man. Use your power better, man. Because that's unfair. It's dirty. If that's true, it could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. But whoever it is that's doing it, stop doing that, man. Stop it. What's the difference between you and Eddie Hearn? Nothing. Nothing. There's no difference between the two of you. So on the real, Gary Russell Jr., and I'm not talking to his camp, advising him, nothing. I'm not. I'm done. I'm on these videos. And I appreciate the super chats and the love, but I want to clear this up because I'm going to go to sleep today and I'm going to be able to be okay going to sleep. Because now you guys can know what I think and know that I was as delicate with it as I possibly could be. I thought it out the best that I could. I'm being as adult as I can. I'm not going to continue going back and forth with other YouTube channels. I'm not going to blame new media. I'm not going to be distracted by any of that. My understanding is, from what I could see, is that there's an organizational structure for the PBC within the YouTube community with influencers who are their go-to influencers, whether it be the Mayweather channel, whether it be other channels. Those are the relationships that Floyd Mayweather Jr. has on the internet, and he believes they are strong enough and deep enough to push any message that he wants. I do believe that there was a slight attempt to co-opt the LDBC. That is my personal belief. I think that there was an attempt to co-opt the LDBC, and it failed. And as a result, boom, everything's out because I don't work for the PBC. 78 don't work. 78 don't work for the LDBC. We're all independent contractors, just like the fighters, just like Al Heyman teaches people to be, so you can be independent. I love the PBC, the idea of the PBC, and I want to support black fighters. But if you're being mistreated as a black fighter, you got to go. You just got to go. If he wants options, if Eddie Hearn wants options, consider options. If Eddie Hearn wants options, not anything else. Because you don't even know if those promotions, what the ownership interest is in a promotional company when you're dealing with a guy that got $500 million. Right? When you're dealing with somebody that wealthy, you have to be very, very clear who owns the business that you're dealing with. So if it was Devin Haney Promotions, I would request information about the ownership. I would like to see exactly who owns it, who's incorporated. Is there a board of directors? It's an LLC? Who are the members? Do you have any relations with anybody that could be a conflict of interest? You are going to confirm that you do not have a conflict of interest. And if there is a conflict of interest, then you understand that monetary issues, damages may not be enough, that you agree to allow me to seek an injunction and to stop you from doing business. You're not going to be able to pay me off with some money. No, you're going to sign away your ability to allow me to stop your business if you fuck with me. Okay? And I'm quite sure you guys can go find lawyers that can tell you all of this shit. I'm telling you this from a business perspective, from a businessman, what I would want to see before I dealt with any promotional company that I did not know the owners of. Which is not coincidental that I bring that up. About Canelo Alvarez. Why did the court throw out the suit? See, this is usually when I'll go about calling people dummies, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna explain it to you. Canelo Alvarez's lawyers sued DAZN, and sued Golden Boy. But they named DAZN, and they named DAZN, and they as a defendant, and they named Oscar De La Hoya as a defendant. What did the court do? And I'm not a litigator, right? You can read the case. Thank you, Michael Johnson. So what did they do? They said, excuse me, there's a problem here. These guys are LLCs, which means they have members. You have to tell me, because when you sue somebody, it is your responsibility to say exactly who you are suing. So you have to name the members of the LLC, which is further disclosure. But it's not the duty of the court to go tell them to provide the information after the fact. When you are accusing somebody, you got to tell the court who it is you're suing, so that they can ascertain what those people's duties are and whether they breached it or failed to live up to their obligations. You got to tell them who it is. Why would a high-priced law firm make a stupid mistake like that? Maybe they were hoping that they could sue them without naming the members, right? Because this is now telling you there will be different people added to the lawsuit, right? But maybe Canelo didn't want to sue those particular people. They just wanted to sue the entity. But no, you got to give me, no, you're treating this as if it's a corporation when it's a limited liability corporation. Limited. Which means in certain circumstances, you can go after the personal, the difference between a corporation and a limited liability corporation is that there are circumstances in a limited liability corporation where your personal aspects can be attached versus a shareholder in a corporation, right? So if you sue a corporation and you're a shareholder, they're not asking you to pay into the damages because you're a shareholder, right? But if you're an LLC, they want to know who you are, because then your ass might have to come up off some money. That's why they threw it out. And that's why I'm waiting to see whether or not Canelo Alvarez even bothers to refile it. Because he may not want people to know who the members of the LLC are for either Golden Boy Promotions or DAZN. Because if you disclose those things, there might be conflicts of interest that the public will now be aware of if they are interested enough to read the documentation. Right? So that tells you, if you were going to sign with Fannon Promotions, and I say I am Fannon Promotions, I want you to sign with me, you would then have to ask me, Fannon, do you have any partners? Do those partners have any conflicts of interest? And just go down the road with them. That's how you kill a cat's paw and all that dumb shit. Leave because he wants to play chess, not checkers. Stop playing the game. No, you're playing chess. I'm leaving. Because my best alternative in negotiation, because what is Gary's best alternative to a negotiated agreement? Sign with DAZN or sign with Top Rank and fight whoever they give you. But at least you'll be gone and you can get regular fights. And you will not have to worry about the influence of somebody that has publicly said they don't like you. And all your brothers too. But I don't know. That's just how I would handle it. I don't even advise you to do it. That's a YouTube opinion. But if I was in that situation, I'm gone. Dog, I don't need to work like this. This is a fucked up work environment. You know what I mean? Don't make it any more complicated than it is. It's a fucked up work. And if that's true, it's just a fucked up work environment. And bro, you guys would be better to leave a fucked up work environment for a good work environment. Why would anybody want to work in a work environment where you have to worry about whether or not some super billionaire is out, some guy damn near a billionaire is out to get you and keeping you from doing shit? Just leave and go find somebody else. Let a white man oppress you. You know what I mean? At least you could at least you could have the satisfaction of being like, look, at least I'm earning more money for this shit. And I love the PBC. Love them. Somebody tell me I'm a PBC hater. It's my opinion. It's my opinion. That's what I think. What's Gary's possible beef with oh, no, it's a guaranteed one. Gary Russell Jr. was on Box Barbershop Conversations and said some shit about Gary and them. Gary Russell Jr. just like 2 weeks said, I'll whoop Floyd too. I don't know. You guys know better than me. You guys know way better than me. That's my opinion though. So my thing is, hey man, bounce. If Bill, what Bill is saying, because Bill's a straight shooter, and Bill really wants to sign you and do all that stuff. First of all, I doubt very much Gary Russell would ever do that with him. But if you definitely can't sign, because you got to worry. you guys just got to look to see who owns it. You know what I mean? Who owns it? Let me see your letters. Let me see your articles of incorporation before we even, and I'll sign a non-disclosure, but I need your articles of incorporation because by law, a limited liability corporation, you have to continually let people know who the members are in a limited liability corporation for city contracts, things like that. You know what I mean? And it doesn't, yeah, because you got to form it to register it, just to register it for your taxes, you know, with the state. So the information is there, but it's just, it's kind of disappointing, man. Bill, a straight shooter. Hey, man, look, I like Bill. I think he's a good dude, man. I think he's a good dude. And I just don't believe that. I don't think Bill's dumb. So the things that I see only make sense if he's not the one telling people to do it. And Eddie Hearn don't make sense. That don't make sense. Like, it just doesn't make sense for Eddie. Like, Eddie should be geeked to get that fight. He should be bragging about it. You know what I mean? Anyway, man, y'all got some questions? Fannon, remember Gary went in on Floyd a couple months ago, and Floyd and Al partners with PBC. Yeah. That's obvious that that's the case. It's not even, I mean, it's just straightforward, easy. Look, man, I don't blame cat's paws, dog. That's why in business, they say in business, you can't take it personal. This dude, you don't know who's, I mean, and I could be wrong. It could be all Bill, but it just doesn't make sense for it to be all Bill. That just doesn't make sense to me, which is why I'm just the whole time, I'm like, no, I think he's making it. I think he's making it because everything he said to me and everything I saw was around making the fight, or I'll put it, accomplishing something. He's definitely trying to accomplish something. But what is he trying to accomplish? What is your BAFTA? Like, you got to know in a negotiation, there's something that the person will make the person walk away. And there's something that they're trying to get. And not all of it is money. To have Devin Haney be ducked by Gary Russell Jr. makes Devin Haney look better. Because, it's another guy that refused to fight this champion. And that allows Devin Haney to beat Gary Russell Jr. without ever getting in the ring and having to take a chance. All of this talk about him, he's so small. Plenty of 126 guys moved up to 135. How come why is he so small all of a sudden? Mecca management, too much speculating, dude. Let me tell you, dumbass. Because now I'll go in on you. Look, dumbass. I ain't speculating. I know every fact. That's speculating. I have an opinion. It's fully supported by facts. I'm not guessing. I'm telling you conversations that I've seen, things that I've heard, just like I do not believe that and I don't ever hear anybody in this channel ever arguing about that when I do it to Bob Arum. When I say that this is what Bob Arum is trying to do, Bob Arum will lowball you. He wants the in-house fight, right? He'll lowball you, make an offer that he doesn't think you want to accept, right? Isn't that what Sean Porter said? Kenny Porter said just the other day? It's like, yeah, they give you these offers that they know you don't want to accept, so you have to say no, so then you duck them. That's what Bob Arum does. That's what Eddie Hearn did to Deontay Wilder. It's a regular play in boxing business. It's like a straight right. People do it all the time. And I say it all the time, but don't nobody ever tell me I'm lying about that till I tell you I think that's what's going on here. It's just a different playbook. Now we see it in this playbook. Now we see somebody's playbook. But who's the person that has the ability to negotiate on both sides? Floyd. Who is the guy that has a fighter in both of Devin Haney's fights? Floyd. Come on, man. Uriakos Gamboa is a PBC fighter that just fought on one of Floyd's cards. And Gary Russell Jr. is a PBC fighter. And Devin Haney is a Mayweather gym fighter. Come on, he's a Mayweather gym fighter. He trains out of the Mayweather gym. He lives in Las Vegas. You think I'm supposed to believe that Floyd has no influence on his career? That he's just walking around and they just haphazardly bouncing into the zone deals and being known as the next Floyd Mayweather and having Floyd do videos of fighting with him? You think everybody gets that? He's a Mayweather protege. That's the best way to say it. Thank you. He's a Mayweather protege. That's my opinion after have listened to everything. That's my opinion after listening to everyone. And look, Rob G Film, I think it's long money. I think it's long money. Hey, I gotta take. I want to be out. I'm gonna take a call. Give me 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Got to pause the show. Yeah, all right, so that's it. Yeah. Sorry, man. Yeah, I want to be real clear, dude, that I'm speaking for myself as Fannon International Boxing Channel. I am not into, and that's not what this call is about. This is me just continuing. That was not related to this in that way. What do you think about Floyd doing this to protect his 15-0 record? Nothing. I don't think it has any. That doesn't make sense for me. He can protect his 15-0 record. He's just trying to play chess, not checkers. And he understands he's a student of the game. He's been around boxing promoters since he was a little kid, right? Knew he was going to be a professional fighter since he was a little kid. He knows the game inside and out, not just in the ring, but not just in the ring, but outside the ring. He's just a tremendous, very knowledgeable guy in the sport of boxing. You know? So I don't think that he cares so much about that. I just think he wants to be I don't even care, honestly. Sorry. I just don't care is the better way to say that. I don't care what his motivation is. Don't care. I see actions. I see actions with Muhammad Ali. Like, why would you go out of your way to try to tear at Muhammad Ali? He's just ultra competitive for no good reason. You know what I mean? Like you can't say anything to him without him responding in some type of way. Right? And I think he does it directly, and I think he does it indirectly. I'd be shocked if he has not been in this chat. I'd be shocked. Everybody else is. Why not him? You know what I mean? I've tried to have a conversation with contacts that I've had, like, because I never people won't return my calls. Like, why all of a sudden is you not returning my call? Like, this is not a big deal. Oh, okay. Now returning my call. I got you. But no biggie, because I don't really care. I'm on a YouTube channel, dog, and this is what we do. DBC, big time. Let me get to these super chats, man, and we're going to have some good conversation now. All right? And I respect everybody, man. I do. I really do. But I can't keep doing this conversation because it's just, that's what I think it is, and that's why I think it's not worth and that's why I think, really and truly, dude, that it's just not worth my time. You know what I mean? It's just not my time, dog. At all. You know what I mean? So, like, look, dude, we got more people in here than they got in the Jamal Charlo media workout. But I was wondering why people dropped. Y'all went to go see that media workout. That's what's up. So if you want to leave going over there, there's a media workout on. But let me get to the super chats. I'm just really disappointed in Floyd, man. I'm really disappointed because I can't see this being anything else. I can't see it being anything other than that. Let me get to these super chats real quick. And I think everybody that was listening to me, go through this over a bit of time. Wow, this shit is fucking bananas. Hold on one second. Let me get to this. I got to do these because y'all show so much love, man. And also, dude, I got to keep it with you. I just got to keep it so where you understand where I'm coming from. I'm really, really, really not trying to be like, I ain't trying to hate on anybody, man. I understand what it's like to do to try to grow a business, try to get your fighters on, that type of stuff. Oh, this is real short. Okay, cool. Something I've been saying without having to say it. John Page. Jay Williams said, I love this channel. Keep sticking up for truth, black fighters, and being 100. Don't become that's my man, Jay Williams. Chris Tucker said, don't become the student of your enemies. Stay ready. Said, Fannon, what's the deal? What's the deal? Oh, man, great show yesterday. Stay ready, man. I cannot wait to have you back on the show, dog. KQKC Boxing, who's going to be coming up not too long, about 15 minutes, says, salute, my brother. Keep that content coming. And thank you, sir. Troy King, message deleted. Troy King, message deleted, dog. You must be somebody trying to get, dog, go over to BFTB, man. If that really is Troy, dog, go to BFTB, man. Come on, man. Man, it's all love, Troy, but for real, man, you got to go to BFTB, dog. That's not, that's not popping off. John Russell said, they're doing it to all my little brothers. Gary Russell Jr., Gary Antoine Russell, Gary Antoine Russell, 17-0, 12 KOs. Gary Antoine Russell, 13-0, one champion, two Olympians, two undefeated fighters, but the fans only know about one of them. Now, man, that is a major statement. That is a major statement, dog. That is a huge statement, dude. And I see, now I did not ask for my man to say that. That is just bananas, dude. Much love. It says, salute to you, Fannon, and you and the LDBC work very hard with both Russell and Haney to make the fight. The LDBC has shown the world their platform is a legitimate organization. I appreciate that, man. I really do. And because I really appreciate that, man. But let's get back to what John Page said. They said they're doing it to all the Russells. None of the Russells with that type of pedigree, and none of them can get anywhere. Primal Pit Boxing. The timing of this commentary comes off as real suspicious. Just my opinion. Primal Pit Boxing. Fuck you and your opinion. I do this show every fucking day at the same time to the same people. I ain't never seen you before. Do not bring your drones in here trying to convince people that I'm not right, dog. The people in the LDBC are in this chat every day. Every day. They have watched me talk about this every day in real time for a week. That stuff is not going to work. Okay? The comments, the flooding of things, it's not going to work. Not with me. Because I have well over almost 10 hours of negotiation tape on Bill Haney and Gary Russell Jr. on my channel that you can go look at right now. With actual conversations where I'm not even talking. I'm just listening. And the timing of this, Mr. Primal Pit Boxing, is suspicious. Maybe it's because you're dumb and you're not very bright. I don't know what you suspect. You suspect bias. Is that what you expect? Bias? No, dog. And just your opinion? I know it's your opinion. You ain't got to worry about me. You don't need to make any type of disclaimers constantly. Like, all of this is my opinion, and I don't know any of this to be certain for one, so research yourself. This is just an opinion ed. I have to do that. I have to protect myself like that. You don't, because I don't give a fuck about what you got to say. So you can just kick rocks. It ain't suspicious. Gary Russell Jr. and E! News probably ain't going to make this fight. Yes, we strung it out another day. Yeah, sure we did. We strung it out another day in a negotiation. We got them to do another term sheet to address that, right? So then they'll send it back and maybe Gary will sign it. Maybe Gary won't sign it. I don't know. Because I'm out of it. But right now, the timing is that I don't believe that powers that be in the PBC want this fight to be made. And I would love if somebody proved me wrong. Love it. Please counter move me in this chess game because I'm biased and you should be suspect of me. Let me tell you what your next move should be. I could tell you what your next move is, but I won't. But I could. I will tell you, however, what your next move should be. Your next fight should be buy the fight and make the fight. That should be it. Because now that this has occurred, like all other things YouTube, people heard it, people see it, people understand it. And if people understand this, and if there's any truth to what I'm saying, and like I said, I might be completely wrong. Only the cat's mouth knows. Because I know people know who I am. I don't know actually who Gary Russell Jr. is negotiating with. In truth, Gary could ask me, hey, what do you think? Who am I negotiating with? I would have to tell him I don't know who you're negotiating with. I know one of the parties that you're communicating with is Bill and Devin Haney Promotions. But I don't know whether you're negotiating with Mayweather or, through a cat's paw named Al Heyman, or whether or not, like, imagine if Al Heyman really is a cat's paw. in that regard. I'm not saying he is because I don't know, but imagine that he is. What good would it do to go talk to Al Haymon? Not a lot in that circumstance. Not a lot. Because, dog, I know it says president, but really I'm the CFO. He's the CEO and he's a major owner. So, nah, I'm not really going to get into that with you, dude. I'm sorry. I wish I could help you. I love you as a brother. Hey, man, you got to do, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. If you got to sign with somebody else, got to go get that money, man. That's what I'd have to advise you to do. Because I really can't make these guys fight. Right? I'm just saying, do what makes sense. But again, I could be completely wrong. I don't think I am. And like I said, the next move will be made, and I know what it is, which is why I'm out the game. So keep on playing, do your stuff, be you, do whatever it is you guys are doing to Gary Russell Jr. I am going to batten back down on doing videos about black fighters that get mistreated by promotional companies, by managers, and crookedness in boxing that we know exists, that we talk about in the LDBC on a regular basis. That's what I'm going to go do. And Gary Russell Jr. is going to go figure out what he's going to do. And hopefully we'll get to see a fight. Unless something major changes, I don't see it. All I see is really a concerted effort to keep doing the same thing. Make Gary Russell Jr. look like a duck. Attack Gary Russell Jr. in the press. Maybe next you start hyping up another fight for Devin Haney. If you could get it, but you really probably can't. You know what I mean? Who cares about how, who was it? Gamboa? Come on, man. Who was the last person that Gamboa fought? Does that look like Eddie Hearn to you? Like, for real. Like, ooh, Devin Haney, Gervonta Davis. Ooh, Devin Haney knocked out Yuriorkis Gamboa better than Tank did. Let's talk about the fight. And Gary Russell ducked. He didn't want no smoke with Tank. He didn't want no smoke with Devin. He's irrelevant. The 5-year champ is irrelevant. There's no chance at lightweight. Man, come on, man. We know who's in the comment section, dog, on a daily basis, man. We know who the people are, man. Y'all just kill me, man. Anyway, it is what it is. DNS said, fine, how about Al Haymon and PBC don't like the deal? It's better business not to fight Haney, even though we all want it, and a person feels don't matter. Well, let's evaluate that. What if Al Haymon and the PBC don't like the deal? I don't think they do like the deal. Sean Dean, apparently they don't like the deal. And it's better business not to fight. Yeah, it might be, but better business for who? Everything that you said is something I already said. That Al Haymon and the PBC don't want the deal. And it's about business. It is better business. Because you don't want to get Gary Russell Jr., Devin Haney, beat by Gary Russell Jr. You don't want to do Nonito Donaire like you don't want a Nonito Donaire Guillermo Rigondeaux situation. So why would you? If Devin Haney is, and they really want to sign Devin Haney down the road, because it looks like PBC is it looks like DAZN is going out of business, and they want to sign Devin Haney and make sure Devin Haney gets to Showtime or make sure he gets to Fox, but under Mayweather Promotions or in association with Floyd Mayweather, because Floyd Mayweather could own a promotional company called anything. Anything. Just like you can have YouTube channels named anything. People got 4 YouTube channels and only act like they got 1. But dog, that dude works for you and that dude works for you. Stop the bullshit. Okay? I know. You guys have the same fucking pattern. You talk about the same topics. You were all on the same show together. Stop. That is a loosely organized group. Stop. People ain't blind. Look long enough, you see it. So it is what it is. You can believe me or you cannot believe me. But yes, it is better business for Mayweather Promotions not to have Devin Haney fight Gary Russell Jr. It's smart business on the part of Floyd Mayweather Jr., which is why I believe that it could be him. Because it makes sense for him. That's how you know how to think like your opponent. You get in their mind. What is his motivation? What is his personality? Does $3 million mean anything to Floyd Mayweather Jr. when he's got an $18 million watch? No. He wants $100 million paydays. Would he, if he thinks that he has a chance to get a $35, $40 million payday down the road with Devin Haney, do you think he wants to allow Devin Haney to lose to Gary Russell Jr. for 1.5? That's a terrible business decision. Don't talk to me about business, dummy. Yes, that's a smart business decision. That's why I think it's his decision. Because it would be a dumb decision for everybody else but him. It would be a dumb decision for Al Haymon. What difference does it make? It's another good fight over there on DAZN. His fighter gets money. If he negotiates, he gets a cut, he moves on. Why wouldn't Al Haymon want that fight? There's no reason for Al Haymon not to want that fight. And I don't have to have met him. There's just no reason for not to want it. I cannot see it. Can somebody tell me why? The only foreseeable reason that he would not want that fight is if he wanted to sign Devin Haney down the road. But we already know who wants to sign Devin Haney down the road. It is his partner. Floyd Mayweather Jr. wants to sign Devin Haney, bring Devin Haney over there. Devin Haney started over there. He started with the PBC and he was allowed to go to DAZN. And DAZN looks like it's going away, so he's going to be coming back. That's what it looks like to me. And that's a smart business decision because he can get all the way up to welterweight. And he fights like Floyd Mayweather Jr. He's got a marketing department behind him. They can make a lot of money down the road on Devin Haney. He's the future. He's not the present. He's the future. He's being built. Don't you listen? That's exactly what has been said in all of these conversations. Devin Haney one day is going to be the king of boxing. And all these other dudes is ducking him and dying. Yeah, there's resistance to Devin Haney through WBC. Yes, there's resistance to Devin Haney. Yes, there are people that are ducking Devin Haney because they think because Devin Haney can beat some of these dudes. I don't know. So yeah, it's a smart business decision for the PBC not to do it if you have the ability to get Devin Haney down the road. Dude, you guys are jokes. Every word that you said in that sentence is true because that's exactly what I said. But you're still a fucking moron and said it as if it means something. You troll. Who are you, copycat? How about Al Haymon and the PBC don't like the deal? Obviously, that's what I said. The title of the video is that Gary Russell Jr. getting held up by Floyd Mayweather Jr., who is an owner in the PBC. That is exactly what I said. And it's better business not to fight Devin Haney. Yes, I just explained to you how for Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Mayweather Promotions and probably DHP, it's a better decision for them too. And what a person feels don't matter. You're right. It doesn't matter. It matters what people have done. So look at what people have done. Don't mirror me anymore. And here's another thing too. Stop mirroring. Stop mirroring. You're doing it too much. Every show, I can tell who you've talked to, all y'all talk to, by what you say. You're repeating the arguments that have been made by other people on YouTube, but you're addressing them in a systematic fashion. That shit's scripted. It's scripted. You're feeding me my own words. Respect. This, that. Dude, he said that. He said that. He said that. Oh, you're collecting what everybody says through the internet, all the conversations. You're taking these talking points together and you're getting them together and you're going in there. Dog, we know how this works. I know how it works. You know what I'm saying? Stop. Or don't stop. Keep doing it. Because then the plays get easier to see. The more you have experience seeing something, the easier you recognize it. Y'all got to just stop, dude. If you don't want to make the fight, just don't make the fight and stop attacking Gary Russell Jr. But I don't think that you're going to successfully be able to exit this conversation with all the blame placed neatly on Gary Russell Jr. Please come up with a second attempt, another plan, other than to have this blame placed firmly on Gary Russell Jr. Now, when this video is over, look for another video to come out firmly blaming this on Gary Russell Jr. Firmly placing it on him. Right? Because that's what keeps happening. No matter what goes on, more videos coming out putting the blame on Gary Russell Jr. No matter how many conversations that people, where everybody in the chat, thousands of people have heard. Thousands. These views have been viewed by over 30,000 people. These conversations, 30,000 views. I can't say how many people. 30,000 views throughout multiple videos with everybody listening, and you still think you can blame Gary Russell Jr. Why? Because they just want it, because that's the plan. And we're going to keep doing it till it works. We're going to keep doing it till it works. Or until Gary leaves, which is why Gary probably just needs to leave. Don't allow him to do it to you. It worked for me. I left. So as much as I love it, I got to go. Because I won't be allowed to be successful here. Gary Russell Jr., if you're not going to be allowed to be successful, right? Only you in your heart of hearts know. Only Gary Russell Jr. in his heart of hearts know whether or not he's ducking or something. But if Gary, you know in your heart of hearts that you're not ducking, and you know that you're trying to make these fights, you got to go somewhere where the fights can be made. Your situation might be Floyd Mayweather in reverse. Floyd suffered under over Bob Arum, under Bob Arum and all that. And he left and they started the PBC. And now he's an extremely successful person with a lot of power. Maybe your destiny is to do the reverse. Go somewhere else. Because that freedom is not yours. If you feel everything getting blocked, and you keep trying to move and you don't understand, there's not that much coincidence in the world, okay? Some bad things can happen once. Bad things can happen twice. Bad things might happen 3 times. But if everything is bad, time after time after time after time, you keep running into the same wall, It might be a different wall, but just can't make it. This fighter you really can't make the deal, right? Just can't get it done. They might have conversations with you and tell you things like, you're not popular enough, Gary. You need to get more popular. That's the problem. The problem's not us. You just have to find a way to become more popular. Well, hey, how about you give me a fight where I beat a guy like Devin Haney and I can become more popular? Nah, I can't give you that fight. Well, how about I fight Leo Santa Cruz and I get more popular? Nah, can't give you the fight. What if I would fight Shakur Stevenson? And because I love to fight Shakur Stevenson. He's in my same weight class. Nah. We can't make that fight. Shakur thinks you're a friend. He doesn't. You're too close. He likes you too much to make that fight. Right? If those things just keep happening to you, it might not be you. And it might not be under your control. If you're at a job and no matter what you do, you keep getting the worst shift possible. Like, how is this possible? We're supposed to be doing it randomly, but I've got like 3 weeks in a row. I've gotten Sunday morning at 8 a.m. I mean, at 2:30 a.m. Sunday morning. How do I keep getting this shift if it's supposed to be? It never moves. I'm always here. Because somebody's trying to fire you or push you out. And there's another thing too. Dude, you're an independent contractor. So you can't be fired. You can't be dumped. So how would they get rid of you? They would just make things real hard and not allow you to get anything. I do that on contracts. There's contracts where we have a subcontractor on a contract, and I don't even waste my time terminating the agreement because I'm like, we're just not going to give them any hours. You get paid by the hour. If we don't approve your hours, you're not getting paid. No matter what the contract says, you're not going to get any hours.
So yeah, you can keep it. And I've allowed people, by the way, where people said, look, man, I understand you don't have any work for me. Can I stay? Can we at least, I'd be like, dude, look, if you want to tell them you got a job, that's cool. Don't terminate the agreement. You still have the relationship, but it's on an hourly basis and you get the work when I give you the work. Easy, right? That type of situation. But that don't mean they get any work. They were fired. So just check to see, dude, if you're just fired and you don't know it. Like you're getting your minimums, like the minimum that that contract says that they're supposed to do for you is what you're getting. Then more than likely you're already fired. You just don't know it. And you need to acknowledge that they're talking to you that way. Maybe they can't tell you that directly because they don't want a lawsuit or they don't want public opinion to go south like this. But they might just be telling you that they don't want you. And that's not Eddie Hearn's fault. That's not Bill Haney's fault. But I think that the reality should be looked at. Because I want everybody treated fairly, man. I'll take advantage of people in my real job if I have to. You know what I mean? If I want to wrap somebody, usually I just defend people from getting wrapped up, which is why this is so irritating to me. Because one of the things that I really do in my job is I look at these agreements and the people that I work with, I love. Like I love the people that I read my agreements for, and who I do risk assessments for, right? I'm like, look, I love these people. I don't want something to come to hurt them. So that's why I tell you guys what to look at. Know how to get out of a contract. Because sometimes you got to be able to get out and you just got to go. Gary's very, very knowledgeable in that regard, in that he's independent. So if he can walk away, dude, just get business from somebody else, dog. They're not buying your product because that's the relationship. You're trying to sell yourself and get on fights with them and be advised by and work it out, but they're not finding you anything good. They don't really, maybe they just don't really want to do business with you. And you just have to accept sometimes that people don't want to do business with you, even though you really love them and want to do business with them. But you don't fit into their plan. So Gary's got to make that decision. You know what I mean? For himself as a man. And that's why I'm telling like dude, he's an intelligent guy. Intelligent guy, dog. Like, but sometimes, man, you know, you really love people, man. You believe in people. You trust people. But the people that you love and trust and respect can only do for you what they can do for you. I love my father dearly, but my father cannot protect me anymore. He can't protect me from some things. I could be completely wrong, like I keep saying, but if there's any truth in what I'm saying, Al may not be able to protect you from him. He might not be able to protect you from him. He might not be able to do what he says he wants to do. But he might be also not have the ability to tell you why. Because he's also under non-disclosure agreements with people. He's also under business relationships with people. He might not be able to tell you. You know what I mean? And I say that to all fighters, with whoever you do business with, anybody you do business with. Money is not everything, especially to somebody that has all the money they'll ever need and is still not satisfied. And I hope you understand that I have not said that I hold Floyd Mayweather in any ill will. I don't. I think he has tremendous power, but I think that it looks like he might be utilizing it incorrectly and in a way that might eventually damage the thing that he loves the most. Because organizations will rot from the inside out. People will only be mistreated so long. And there are people who are very, very competent people, but just in your organization that are important to your organization. But at a certain point in time, they can harm it. I've been a defender of the PBC, man. I will continue to defend the PBC and the fighters in it with the fights that they deserve and their pound for pound status that they deserve. But I can't say that this is not what I think. This looks like Guillermo Rigondeaux. It looks like a kinder version of what happened to Guillermo Rigondeaux. Gary Russell Jr. lost the fight to Lomachenko, who's the pound for pound #1 guy in the world on many people's books. It's the only loss he's had. 5-year reigning champ with the WBC, but don't nobody want that belt. The most prestigious belt in boxing, but don't nobody want it, right? So anyway, man, much love everybody in the chat. Y'all the shit. 78 said, everybody with knowledge of the situation knows that the PBC don't want this fight. That's why I just wanted to be quiet about it, because some dudes blaming the Haneys, and that's unfair. And I believe that that is unfair. I absolutely do believe that that's unfair. I think that I will not say a bad word about Bill Haney through this whole thing, because he has to work. He has to earn money for his family. He has to take care of his kids. That's the struggle, and I respect that struggle. I do believe, though, like 78 Sports TV said, and I'm going to end my stream on that. Much love to everybody in the chat, everybody in the super chat, everybody in the LDBC. 78 kick it like it is. Everyone with knowledge of the situation knows that the PBC don't want that fight. That's why I just wanted to be quiet about it, because some dudes blaming the Haneys, and it's unfair. It is. It's as unfair to blame the Haneys, I do believe, as it is unfair to blame Gary Russell Jr. But that's going to have to be what it is with me. I don't blame Gary Russell Jr. I don't blame Devin Haney. I wish Devin Haney the best of success. I wish Bill Haney nothing but the best. I hope they make this fight. I also wish nothing for the best, but the best for the Russell family, all of them, including Batman. All right, so hopefully y'all can work it out. Much love to everybody in the chat and the super chat. I'm done with this issue. I've done my video. I've given my opinion. I'm not having chats on it. People aren't coming on my chat no more. I mean, other than to talk about other things. Batman can jump on when Batman wants to jump on, and we'll talk about stuff that doesn't include this, because I know that my opinion is my opinion, and I don't want anybody harmed or discriminated against or mistreated because of my opinion. But I'm not playing the chess game anymore, dude. I'm out. I am this guy's cat's paw. And it's a wrap. Much love to the LDBC. And with that, I'm out. Call 78, man, if you got any issues. Peace.